Pelicans or the Denver Nuggets, they're in a tough spot because they don't have this kind of young core that needs to make the playoffs. The Pelicans have Anthony Davis, and he's doing his darndest to lead them to the promised land. But he doesn't have the team around him to do that. And the Nuggets, they're kind of just a mess right now. They have a head coach that might not be around for too much longer if he doesn't start improving. Pretty much every player on this team outside of Ty Lawson and maybe the rookie Yusuf Nurkic is tradable. They would definitely be, if you're not right on the border of making the playoffs in the West, you'd definitely be better off losing games so you don't get caught in that sort of no man's land, which is not in the playoffs, but just good enough to not get a good draft pick,
Do you think there should be a new rule in the NBA that says former Phil Jackson players are not allowed to try to run his system or coach in the NBA with the way Shaw's gone in Denver and the way Derek Fisher started off in New York?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because, Derek Fisher's doing such a bad job in New York, like a historically bad job. And then Brian Shaw, the Nuggets have been advertised as this 15-deep team, but it doesn't really matter if you don't have a coach who can manage those rotations. So it is kind of interesting that two of Phil Jackson's proteges are not faring so well. Although I will say one is doing really well. My favorite for Coach of the Year so far, Steve Kerr with the Warriors. I feel like he should win the award just for choosing the Warriors over the Knicks this summer.
Well, how much do you hate Steve Kerr after how he performed as GM of the Suns and now he goes on to be as coach of the Warriors and has taken them to a whole nother level?
Yeah, I mean, that definitely stings a little bit. The Warriors are, they're not rivals with the Suns by any stretch, but that's still a Pacific Division rival. The whole Steve Kerr era in Phoenix did not end on the happiest of notes. But as someone who I also cover the Warriors for Hoops Habit, so it's hard not to buy into what Golden State is doing this season, especially after the way that Mark Jackson was fired last year. A lot of people thought it was unfair the way he was let go, especially because he did a good job with this team that had a losing culture for, since the We Believe Warriors, and a long time before that as well. So, Kerr's upgraded the offense in ways that a lot of people didn't see coming. He's kept the defense intact, and he's turned them into title favorites like that. So as a Suns fan, yes, definitely a little bitter to watch Steve Kerr have that kind of success as a rookie head coach. But from a league-wide perspective, it's hard not to appreciate what he's doing.
What do you think the worst move he made as Suns GM was?
The worst move he made as Suns GM. Oh boy, that's
was it the Shaq
one. I'd probably have to go with the Shaq just because. That just did not work out at all. I would go with the Shaq one. I can't think of one off the top of my head that would be worse than that. Although I'm sure my son's followers would be quick to bring up a laundry list of things that he did wrong in Phoenix.
Well, the Shaq trade was bad, but it was almost, they were kind of stagnant at that point. I get what he was trying to do. It just kind of blew up in his face. Marion was at that point where he was kind of checked out on the team, and I feel like you sort of reinvent them on the run. He just kind of reinvented them with the wrong piece. Yeah,
it was a good, big name trade, and Marion had wanted out. He and Suns management weren't seeing eye to eye on his value, so he was as good as gone. But Shaq, to be effective, needed the pace to be slowed down. He needed touches in the middle. and that's just not what this team's identity was. It was a run and gun team that needed to get up and down the floor, and Shaq was not the right guy for that kind of system.
Well, just to bring the NFL into this a little bit, Peyton Manning chokes again in the playoffs. Who would you, NBA-wise, right now in the league, who would you say is the most comparable to Peyton Manning with, as great as he is in the regular season, his playoff blunders? He's got one Super Bowl, but he also had another one that he threw away against the Saints. Who would you compare in the NBA right now to Peyton Manning?
Oh boy, it'd probably have to be LeBron, wouldn't it? I mean, LeBron's won 2 titles, so he has more than Peyton. Nobody. That's a tough one. I definitely have to say LeBron though, because nobody in their right mind is calling LeBron the greatest of all time yet. Peyton Manning is by all rights the greatest regular season quarterback of all time. LeBron, nobody's saying that about him regular season really. But he's got to be the closest just because he's so talented. He's been to 4 finals, but he's been to 5 finals, but he's only come away with 2 championships. You can't have a losing record in the finals and go down as the greatest of all time. And that's kind of the argument you can make about Peyton as the greatest of all time, is the guy's got a losing playoff record. He's got 9 one-and-dones. So, yeah, I can definitely see some similarities there.
I would say close. He doesn't have a championship, but maybe Carmelo on a smaller scale. Like, he's not considered one of the greatest of all time, but, he's been consistently considered top 5 in the NBA. Throughout most of his career, a lot of one-and-dones in the playoffs. Got to the Western Conference Finals once. I'd say probably Melo right now, minus the championship.
Yeah, I could definitely see that as well, and I could see in a couple of seasons if Kevin Durant hasn't reached that plateau, he could definitely be another candidate.
That's true. Well, we're going to go ahead and take our first break. If you want to call in after the break, the number is 585-633-7487. We'll be right back here with Gerald Bourguet. You're on LateNightSportsRadio.com.
Something shines in your eyes tonight. Baby, there's no need to lie tonight. I see your lips out on fire. Oh baby, I want you to be mine. Touch me, baby, I'm waiting for you. So come on, break the rules. The time is right, the time's tonight. Let it start and you won't stop. Let it start and I won't stop.
from the dark and showed me hope in a brand new start. It's not every day I say that my life's been turned around, and I'm learning to see that life's better from upside down. God, it's been such a long time. When did I go blind? I didn't know love felt so beautiful. Colors now look so bright in the cold air, in the dead of night. It doesn't seem so lonely now that you're around, and I'm learning to see that life's better from upside down. God, it's been such a long time. When did I go blind? I didn't know love felt so beautiful. I didn't know love felt so beautiful. Felt so beautiful. Don't wanna know how. Won't let you go now. I didn't know love felt so beautiful. God, it's been such a long time. When did I go blind? I didn't know love felt so beautiful.